Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, gory genre offerings we've got. Every time we add a name, it's harder to say. All right, tonight we're going to review Ghosts of Ozarks, of the Ozarks even, and that's going to be fun. All right, with me tonight is my co-host, Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I feel like I'm going to burst out into song.
Oh, I wish you would.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
Christopher, will you play the piano?
Yes.
I'll do this.
I will.
Yes.
I'll keep.
There you go. But people have no idea
I
what
should have brought
about,
a piano. I should have kept an eye out for a piano.
Which eye? All right.
I did
good.
that on purpose. I set you
God, that was really beautiful. That was, oh wait,
All right. Yeah, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, award-winning
It's a
filmmaker,
pawn.
Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Bishop, actually.
I'm surprised we didn't have a bunch of genre actors pop into this podcast.
Oh, we can arrange that if you like.
Yeah, we don't have that budget.
no, that's true.
All right. Yeah, there's a cast in here that's, I think, actually fairly
Excellent.
amazing
I think the
good.
cast is excellent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they are not day players.
Nope.
They
Shockingly.
yes.
Mhm.
I thought there was going to be a lot of day player going on, but they might have been weekend players, but they were definitely in the film. Their characters and
They were definitely in the film.
well,
yeah.
I know. I
They
mean,
were.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Figuratively
Ooh.
speaking, sometimes
Yeah.
people show up. I mean, yeah, they're
True.
physically in the film, but they're just
Mhm.
like, "Welcome to the show," and they disappear. All right, enough of my nonsense. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to review Ghosts of the Ozarks, and
Okay.
we're going to give it our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler free, and then we're going to dive into discussion, and we're going to have to get into some spoilers with this because that's the only way to discuss this particular film. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many more that we have on the site. And if you want to help us out, it's easy for you to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share with a friend.
Yay.
We'll be very appreciative, won't we, Crystal?
Totally.
Totally. And of course, we want to hear your comments. Leave them down below. All right, let's get into this. What does the CAD say? Let's hope I got everything right. Ghosts of the Ozarks. Yes, 2022 from XYZ Films. Available in select theaters, VOD, and digital on February 3rd, 2022. Directed by Matt Glass and Jordan Wayne Long. The writers, I don't think those are the writers. The cast. I told you I was going to get something wrong. The writers are, I'll say their names because it looks like I copied and pasted over top of them. Sean Anthony Davis, Jordan Wayne Long, and Tara Perry. Sorry about that. Their cast includes Thomas Hobson, Phil Morris, Tara Perry, oh my Lord, Tara Perry, Tim Blake Nelson in one of my favorite roles, Angela Bettis. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And David Arquette. Yes, I didn't have to screw that up, but by golly, I did.
It made it so much more interesting.
And this is not the.
Oh my gosh! No,
so the synopsis.
did not.
No. I screwed that up royal. The synopsis is in post-Civil War Arkansas. A young doctor is mysteriously summoned to a remote town in the Ozarks, only to discover that the utopian paradise is filled with secrets surrounded by menacing supernatural presence.
Okay.
Those tricky ghosts of the Ozarks messed up your information. How did that happen?
This is why, I don't know. I'm looking for help. If you want to apply. No.
Maybe you should just put the title.
I would just throw out the poster and be done, right? All right, guys, let's get
God.
into this. Let's find out what our first impressions are, and we're going to start off with Crystal.
Okay, so I do love the cast. I think that everyone on the cast did a fantastic job. I love Angela Bettis. Like, she's so wonderful, and she's great in this.
She's fantastic.
It's ever since May. I mean, she's been in so many good things, but May was she's wonderful. But okay, they have one of my favorite things in the entire world in this film, which is an extremely good fog machine. You all like I know I mention
oh my
it
God,
every time I
that
see
crazy
one.
good. God forgive
Like
me.
it's so good. It actually made me really excited. So that's something that I really love. And I really loved about the first 60%, maybe 70% of this movie. And then at some point they just lost me in the story.
Oh no.
Yeah. I will say that the costuming wardrobe is wonderful. I think the set design is lovely. You really do feel like you're in this compound. And the story, I guess I don't want to give too much away.
Not now, but you can.
Yeah,
later.
but they got me right in the beginning. You see this, some of this stuff happening and going on, and I really liked the main character. Oh my gosh, he was charming. He was cute. He was likable. He had everything you need, and
he had
just,
resting pout face.
He really it was
resting
precious.
sad face.
He was stinking really cute. Come on. Like he had such a sweet face and how his interactions were. And I love the concept of him coming to this community that's more developed and more accepting. They had a lot of wonderful things and concept and ideas here until we got toward the end of the story, which just gutted me. It just gutted me. I was like, oh, this is not where I wanted it to go.
Oh no.
So I'm having
the story itself. Okay.
I'm having a tough time with this one because up to that point, I really liked everything about the film and the concept of it and the way it's working and the reasoning behind it all and how they're more advanced there and then yeah. So I'm still working it through my head. Overall, I still found it entertaining.
Yeah.
It did when it lost me in this part of the story though. It kind of just I don't know. It didn't ruin it. I think it's silly to say like, a certain portion of the film ruined it for you. So it didn't quite do that, but it was just kind of a disappointment as it tapered off.
Well, that can happen
But
though.
but at a point I should have known when they burst out into a freaking musical at some point in the movie. I was like, what is this? And I loved that. Honestly, I loved that. I was like, okay, I'm with you. Yep. So
I was totally on board for that. Absolutely.
So I'm working it through my head as we're discussing this.
All
now,
right. Well, let's see which way we sway you as the opinions go on. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, sir, what was your first impression of Ghosts of the Ozarks?
Ghosts of the Ozarks is almost like Little House on the Prairie meets The Village. It's
that's weird.
And the Little House on the Prairie element of it, I hated. So I'm the opposite of Crystal. I hated the first third or so of this.
Interesting.
And it got more interesting towards halfway through. I mean, I had not seen anything on this film, and that's what I love about this podcast. Sometimes is I go into it pretty much blind, and so I was like, "Ooh, that's Angela Bettis. Ooh, that's Blake Nestle. Ooh, that's David Arquette. Ooh, that's the guy that used to be on Young and the Restless back
in the day, right?
Back in the day, because Phil Morris, who plays the guy over the uncle, he used to be on Young and the Restless, and I was like, I know him from Young and the Restless. Not that I ever watched.
You're revealing a little too much about it.
But yeah. The first third of it felt like I was watching the pilot for a TV show.
Oh, interesting.
And it felt like I was watching some of those, like Little House on the Prairie or any of those shows that used to come out, or what's it, Quinn Medicine Woman or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
You know that one out. Wow.
You know what I'm talking about? Those type of shows that took place, and it felt very TV showy. And then I figured out the twist because of a certain movie film, I kind of figured out where it was going. It was kind of obvious to me, but it got more interesting. I mean, I actually I didn't really like the main guy that you talked about, Crystal. I thought he was such a wussy.
Yeah,
and he just annoyed me. And I mean, granted, I mean, I think later on there's an interesting thing where he explains the background behind his arm, and I thought that was very good. But I just didn't really like his character or
That's
just
fair.
the way he represented his character. Now Tara Perry, who was actually a co-writer on this, who played like the mountain woman.
Oh, good. I
thought
liked her.
she was great, and add her to my crush
Annie,
list.
even, yeah.
Good. Yeah, and she's wonderful.
Something about her, I was like, ooh, she's a real spark. I liked. She just the way her accent and the way that she portrayed herself. I kind of liked that a lot. I mean, I like anytime when you have like sort of a strong female character, when you have these settings where they're supposed to be a certain way. But yeah, I don't know. There's certain things that, I mean, I like the barkeep and his lady, played by Tim Blake Nelson and Angela Bettis. I like that, and there's all these weird elements around the town, like these rules and stuff. I mean, it almost felt a little bit like also like Walking Dead when they had the town with the wall around it. How like, ooh, there's something off about this. And you had people going into this mine thing, which it felt like there wasn't a real mine there. You could see the guy just go behind the side of the door. So there's probably nothing. I mean, there are definitely limitations, I guess. This felt like in the beginning. This felt like I go to so many film festivals where you have people that are like, oh, we're going to do a period piece and this is going to be a Western. You could sort of see the limitations of that. And the only thing that kind of took me out of that is like, oh, wait a minute, this has got some big actors in this, like name actors that are character actors from different things. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I don't know. It gets kind of weird. It falls into that sort of folk horror element.
It does,
for a bit of it, and almost like what's it, Wicker Man and that kind of thing. It has a little bit of that. But I don't know. I could see what they're going for, and it got more interesting, I think, when certain things happen and certain people get hurt. It got really more interesting for me. But I'll tell you what, man, I was like, if this film is like this first third, I'm not sure. I'm gonna be pulling my hair out by the end of this. But it because I was like, I was not a big fan of like Little House on the Prairie and those type of things. I'm not a big fan of unless it's like a really sort of fun thing, like Tombstone or any of those type of Western type things.
Holy.
But yeah, but when it comes to like,
so I love Yellowstone, so that might explain a lot.
I've never seen that. My parents like Yellowstone.
Yeah. Hey, I grew up in Texas.
I watched a bit of it,
horses.
and I have no interest in watching Yellowstone. Unless something happens, like some big tentacle monster comes out, I might be interested. But this felt very TV showish in the very beginning, but then it got better once we got to know the characters and things start happening, and the horse shit hits the fan, or
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Even though there's not a single horse, but yeah, that's a
there isn't.
The very beginning.
Oh, was there? Oh, that's right. It runs off.
Rides in a horse,
and then once it runs off, we don't see another horse.
Yeah,
that was their budget.
Yeah, horses are expensive.
The horse was the only day player. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I don't know. It had interesting elements of it, but I don't know. It felt like you could see that they were influenced by certain things, like the village and stuff, and I could see what they're going for. And the visual flourishes by the end, I thought, were kind of interesting, but especially the look of the creatures and stuff like that.
Yeah, the design on that was good.
But then it just kept reminding me how much better that worked in like the village. They were much more creepier in that. So I don't know. It was okay.
It was okay. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing with this. I agree with you, Christopher. Like the first part of it, it's so heavy on establishing a fairly wide group of characters, and the situation in which we're all these characters reside, right? So it's exposition heavy the first half, I would even say. From flashbacks to, or even if they're not really flashbacks, they're just told, like the story about his arm, which was gripping. In fact, I actually was listening to every word he was saying. And a lot of times when they're just doing it that way, it you kind of, but I wasn't. But as the film goes on, you and the characters start developing relationships, it really starts to come together. And I think, Christopher, we're on the same page with that. And I agree with you. There's something about the direction that is, and I'm going to use a word, and I'm going to regret saying it, but it feels very workmanlike, right? It feels very structured for television, right? And I've heard workmanlike is being too harsh, but I think that kind of gets at what I'm going after, right? It's not really stretching any type of framing or anything, except when they're out in the woods and the creatures are around, and I like that, that juxtaposition. It works really well. But yeah, it's always poof, there's your shot and then here it is. And so it felt very TV like you're saying, and I felt like, am I watching something as should be on Lifetime channel or something? Is this the ghost, because I felt like
a Christmas movie.
Yeah, because the supernatural element keeps coming in and out of the story, but when it's out of the story, I don't necessarily feel its presence, right? But it should, because there's always a wall around to protect them, and it just didn't have that atmosphere. So, but on the other side of the coin are these great character actors, and along with our leads, I actually liked our lead character. I know what you're saying, Christopher. I feel a little bit of that, but I thought there was a good chemistry between him and Thomas Hobson and Tara Perry, and apparently they did a short for this previously.
Oh,
and cool. It was the two of them and William Joseph Rudd, Rudd, R-U-U-D, the brother. I did a short. I didn't watch it. I don't know. I just did a little looking at where these actors were and noticed that they were in the short. So, but I thought their chemistry was really strong. You felt that there was something going on, and I like the story around her and her brother and stuff. So there are so many backstories. All the characters have these big backstories. Even the Torb and his wife, Lucille. And Douglas, David Arquette character, has this great camera thing that they take time to explain. So there's a lot of this. Spend 5 minutes here doing this. So it felt kind of like boom, boom, boom.
Interesting.
And then right, and then once you get that over with, it starts to gel into the story. And I don't know. So I'm kind of torn, but at the end, I was kind of like, well, I kind of liked it, but I'm not really, it didn't really get me all excited. And I was like, but at the end, I was like, the last thing I want to say before we go into our spoiler section is that Tim Blake Nelson and Angela Bettis are the couple of the year. I love the chemistry between them two. And I love how it was established in this story with that and parlor tricks and everything, and the way they did that at the beginning and then paid off at the end. I could have watched a movie about those two, only those two, and I think I would have been happy. I really liked them.
Oh, well, I really liked them too. I like that she didn't talk that much as well. Like, they were both kind of quiet people, and I dig that too.
Yeah. But did you guys feel the chemistry between them?
Yes.
Or am I just
okay. I loved them.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, there's
because they sing that song. That was so
well.
Awesome.
Again, well, you talked about like what you called the workmanship of it, and I think a lot of that feels more. Definitely towards the beginning. There are certain things that where they do. I mean, like when they're singing and they do different shots in the midst of them singing, that feels okay. This is an artistic choice. It seems takes me out of that sort of TV world old school TV world, because a lot of stuff on TV nowadays is more cinematic than some cinema films. But there's things like that, or there's also these flashback things where I kept thinking is the Hannibal when he was looking at the crime scene. There'd be this white light, and they did this little white light thing. I was like, I feel like somebody's been watching Hannibal, and they're like, well, every time there's a flashback, we're gonna throw these lights in front of it. There's even a kind of a cool thing, even though it's kind of shot a little haphazardly, but when they have a flashback to when Tara's character and her brother, when
Annie and William,
when their dad goes out, and the red thing swirls around them, kind of framing them. There's things like that. I think, there's an artistic choice. Now, like the whole narration at the beginning and end, which trying to make it more dramatic than what it needs to be, is like that could have just been cut off. I felt like I was watching a bad like documentary on the History Channel or something.
There's a time when James confronts his uncle, right? When he comes barging into his office, and it just felt very staged. There was a moment it felt like a play, and I think that's what I'm after,
Well, and I actually maybe that's what it is. It's more theatrical, I guess, than cinematic in certain parts that don't work. And then like, this is just a character thing. I'm sorry, if the first time you're around red smoke and it makes you pass out, wear a mask or something. Like cover your mouth with something. I feel like he keeps running out. The main character keeps running out in the midst of that, knowing it's probably going to make him pass out. And he's supposedly a doctor. You think at some point he'd put two and two together and cover his face. That's just me thinking logically, and where films don't exactly play out logically for characters. But
I think he thought it was supernatural.
Well, like where did they get those gas masks? Because I mean, considering the era. But I know they were more. I'm accepting it because they're more technologically advanced.
Right, and they also were supposed. They had the mine, right? So they'd have the mask for the mine.
No, not at that.
Not that time. Not like that. Mm-mm. Okay. No,
they used canaries like.
Well, they did use canaries.
Like we're talking. The Civil War was just basically over. Did you hear him? I don't. Yeah. So. Yeah,
I mean, that's where his wound came from. So.
Right. So.
I don't know. There might be something about history. They did have like somebody who is an advisor on the script, so I don't know if there's certain elements we don't know historically. If maybe.
But But I think that the whole thing was they were more technologically advanced, because you see that he was talking about how the whole town had electricity or natural gas. It was run on natural gas, and that was not common at all at like that time.
Which, by the way,
which was brilliant.
Maybe you shouldn't be setting a building on fire in a place that has gas connections everywhere. Maybe that's just me.
Oh my God, I didn't even
when
really
they tried
think
to
about
set the bar on fire, and the whole time I'm like, wouldn't that just make the whole town explode?
No, what are you doing?
There's there's plenty of alcohol in there. Think about that.
Yeah.
If everything's connected gas wise, that just seems like that would have created a big gas fireball.
Oh, it would have.
That doesn't make
plot hole.
sense.
I didn't even think about that. I just accepted. I was like, okay, I'm going to accept this and move on. And I didn't.
It didn't seem like a smart move to do that. To set the bar on fire. I will say that I like the design of the ghost of the Ozarks. Like the actual, the antler heads and everything, and they were real tall, and they had the hooves when you see them walking around.
The first effective filtering activated charcoal gas mask was invented in 1915.
No, so that's a little later. Mm-hmm. Well, good for them.
So, I'm just saying that was my own. That was, but
thanks a lot, Miss Smarty Pants.
I know.
But I went ahead and accepted it because you could see that they explained that the whole town was more advanced. Like the uncle and the dude, they were inventors. I mean, look what he used to cauterize the dude's tongue.
Yeah, that was.
You know, I mean,
and then he had that contraption for his hand
to
too,
like
so.
help. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know there's a lot of issues with this. I know there's some things.
Plus, they had to light up the inside of the creature suit too. So,
yep. Oh yeah.
Because the eyes glowed.
Yeah, there's a good reveal on that
I did enjoy that too.
Although
But, okay.
there's a scene with the house on fire that actually was shot really well too.
It's pretty
framing wise.
Okay, so what bothered me about this is it's not as okay. There's people in the town, but there's not enough people in this town to where you had so many people involved in this, and yet I just felt like their ending was silly. That not everyone in the town knew, even though I
felt like most of the people in the town were part of it to begin with.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, okay, what are you trying to reveal to just the few people that are here? There's not enough people.
Right.
That's what bothered me. But then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I'm like, okay, it didn't establish that sort of. I don't know. I just didn't like the way the thing wrapped up. I think it was kind of a cool concept. I think we all agree that there were issues with the execution and maybe the editing and the filming, and I didn't mind that it felt so made-for-TV movie. I like that kind of.
I got into it after a bit. I think it's only obvious in the beginning when they're establishing everything, and then once the story gets rocking, I think it doesn't matter.
You're so right, though. It reminds. Now I realize, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it felt like a video game to me.
Wow.
In a video game, when you go to a town, and then you go and meet every character. Like, I don't know, if you play video games, you know what I mean.
A lot of non-player characters.
Yeah, and you go and it's like,
yep. James and the NPCs. All right.
Yep. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. It really did. Like, once you compartmentalize it, you really are. I spoke to everyone.
Yeah, you did too.
Yeah.
We got to introduce the people at the mine, the guy that is keeps the door locked. Everybody,
the bartender and his wife. Yep, the uncle.
The school marm.
Yep.
Although I think this would make a very boring video game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It does feel structured like it wants to be a TV show though.
No, it feels like
it feels that way.
What was the guy's name in the show, in the movie?
Oh.
Which one?
The main
guy. What was
James.
his name? James.
James Doc McCune.
Yeah, Dr. James Medicine Guy. that's basically
Medicine Man.
It's like like the Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. That's what it feels like. It feels it almost. What is that? What is the movie? Anyway, yeah.
And the whole thing kind of seems pointless to me too. Like he's trying to force the town to stay here, or what is his purpose in controlling this tiny little town? I mean, wouldn't it be better if you just let everyone know that we're sitting on a freaking, literally a diamond mine, we're rich, and have everyone work together? I just think the thought process is a little silly.
Yeah, there was some greed going on, but
even still, if you're sitting on that much money, I mean, I don't know. I just think it would make more sense to have everyone join in, as opposed to try to control everyone and all this work. They're in the middle of nowhere anyway. Like, I'm just saying. I don't know. I feel like he made life way more difficult, and I don't understand the purpose. You're gonna be rich where, in the middle of nowhere, and have nothing? Smart. Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah, diamonds don't really mean a lot unless you've able to trade
sell them. Yeah, and that's why I'm just like the whole thing is just a little silly. That's why the end bothered me. The reasoning and.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was kind of hoping it was going to turn more folk horror.
Yes.
Those outfits they're wearing when they're going in the mine look like more cult.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? I felt like we were going to find out they're worshiping some.
That would have been awesome.
Yes.
To me, would have been more interesting, but budget-wise, probably other way to pull that off.
Because you could still have the diamond aspect of it, but that could be a controlling factor. But yeah, and then when they reveal the statue, the wooden statue, that could be the idol, right? The Wicker Man, if you will.
It was that was the Wicker Man aspect. I mean, it felt like it was pulling from a lot of these different places, because we got a little bit of the village with the twist, and then, sorry, spoiler, but and then the Wicker Man thing, and it felt like it was pulling a lot of maybe a little bit of Wild Wild West. No,
Wild West,
but.
Don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. It felt like, because again, like the beginning, I felt like I was watching Little House on the Prairie or something, where you have like these pioneer families and stuff, and I mean, I did kind of like. We didn't even mention David Arquette. I did kind of like
him.
his,
He
which
was
was
good.
like
He was great.
the tailor,
photographer.
Guy. So I did kind of like that aspect of it. But
too.
I mean,
I don't think I disliked anybody in this. I thought they were.
Well, no, and I really love the
female
Tara's
lead.
character, and more than just having a crush on her. But yeah, I did like her and her brother. I felt like they were such a interesting
I love
character
the brother
matchup of, because a lot of the other people just felt like, I guess, normal type people in those type of situations.
Yeah.
But
I even like that the one guy was pining for her, and they spent a lot of time to establish that. That was really interesting.
Yeah, and then the
dude
attacked, ugh.
Well,
gross.
Well, yeah, but that was. Yep.
Well, or even the part where he figures out the school marm has allergies, and so he pulls like a house.
It does. It
TV
does
show
pull a
house.
thing.
Where he's like,
oh my god, that's hilarious. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Crystal, you are up first.
Okay, so yes, I like the movie. I had some issues with it. I think I've worked through some of my stuff now. I will say that it is not a poorly made film completely. I still enjoyed it. I had a decent time with it. I feel like the acting was good. I mean, there's something there. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
Yeah, a 3. I think that might be a little high, actually. But I'm going to give that based on the performances and I feel like there's something, there's a conceptual thing there that could be maybe, yeah. We should
have to score is based on the fog machine, right?
Don't discount a good fog machine. I know I say it every time. I don't know what my problem is, but I really like a good fog machine. Haze is good. Okay, anyway. Christopher, I hate his face. Okay, I can't look it up. I can't look it up. So, my favorite scene is, oh gosh, of course, the knife and cleaver throwing.
Ah, damn you! That's my favorite scene.
I loved it. I thought that was so cute. I just love how the reason why that couple worked is because they worked together.
Yes, and they also brought back the story from the beginning when they were doing the parlor trick. Even to the point where he was using the chess pieces. Bishop 8 and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved it.
Me too.
Yeah, good job. Took my scene. Christopher G. Mohr. Your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the film gets better as it goes along. I literally was like, oh gosh. I feel like the time when my family would make me watch Little House on the Prairie. It's like, ugh, this is annoying. And it gets and at the same time I was like, ooh, oh, there's this actor. Okay, this is okay. This isn't some just like fly by night thing where it's just a really low budget indie film that takes place in sort of like this Western town setting. But yeah, it gets better, it goes along, and it gets more interesting once we get past the introductions and gets more into the story. And we get to, and things start happening, nefarious things start happening. but yeah, I think it there, I think it helps that I think if we didn't have some of these well-known character actors in it, this would be a hard watch. Just saying. I don't think lesser actors could sort of
No.
some actors can make things can turn what's it, coal into diamonds just by their ability to grasp onto the characters, or just to bring the characters to life. Because I mean Tim Blake Nelson and Angela Bettis, I think, are amazing. Although it may be kind of sad seeing Angela with gray hair.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought you were going to say about him. Like,
no. No.
Sad.
Although for the longest time, I always thought Tim Blake Nelson was very tall, because he has this sort of tall look about himself, and then you see him in parts and he's much shorter than what you normally expect. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but then it just also just made me recall, okay, well, there's parts to this that work, even though I hate the village, at least this second half of the village, I there are parts of it that worked much better in the village, or worked much better in this or that. But I could see what they're going for. But then there's like also scenes like, there's a scene where this little girl's like flying a kite. It's one of the worst edited things I've seen in a long time. She's like not a good. I think she should pursue something other than acting.
No, I agree with them on that too.
That whole scene was very cringy. Just how they were trying to make the physicality of that scene happen, of it flying over I was like, it hurts my brain to watch this. I'm kind of embarrassed.
And what did it do for the story?
Nothing.
It didn't do anything. It would have been more interesting if she'd been attacked or something, but other than just.
Yeah, she put on that mask and they just left her alone. So I guess maybe what the point was is that was supposed to be like, I mean, they left him alone too when he kept passing out. I guess we're supposed to realize that the ghosts are choosing people or something. I don't know.
But then at the same time, I felt like they also tried to shoehorn Tara's character as working with the doctor, when it didn't feel like, other than her brother making a look or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, I need to stop commenting on scenes. This is going to make me my rating is going lower and lower the more I talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. The film didn't work for me as much, and you could put as many character actors in as you want, but it's sometimes it's like putting all these shiny buttons on something, but if the coat's not made of good material, it's still going to fall apart by the end. And I think that's kind of what happens in this, at least for me. But again, there's some really strong performances. I'd love to see the actress Tara or whatever, who's co-writer on it. I feel like some of her delivery of things and her accent, I think, really, really worked well. So I'd like to see her in more stuff. But yeah, overall, it was okay. I'll give it. Not
going to put that on the box.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think any of my comments are going to be helpful in selling this. But some people might enjoy parts of it. There's some really. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that.
Well,
I'm going to give it.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say the Terror Girl was in 12-Hour Shift and Lucky, which are two films that we reviewed last.
12-Hour Shift had Angela as well.
Yeah,
Bettis. So maybe that's how she got her to be part of the project. She worked with her, so I need to check out some of these other things that she's in, because I don't think I've seen either.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'll give it a
2.5. I bet is what he's thinking.
Yes.
I'll give it 2.50.
2.50. All right.
I'll give it middle ground. I mean, it still has redeemable parts. I think it gets better as it goes along, and I think, I think it works once we get sort of into the meat of it. But the saving grace is some of the actors in it, and just some of the things later on that make it more interesting. And as for favorite scene, as much as I didn't like the main actor, especially at the very beginning, and some of the choices that are made for his character, and maybe that's just in the script and has less to do with the actor, I think sometimes it's very impactful. We talked about how it could be seem very theatrical at times, but the scene where he describes what happened to his arm,
Mm-hmm.
the delivery of that, I think is very impactful. And I think as much as I didn't like certain choices when it came to his character in other parts, I think that drew me in to where you can describe something and you almost like, oh,
Yeah.
it makes you feel for that character and the situation he's put through. And I think that little monologue, I think, really worked well, and is probably one of the things that stands out for this film. And so when just a simple piece of dialogue works better than all the shots in the world, I think that shows you when it comes to script and also the delivery by the actor.
Yeah, because if that would have been flat, it would have.
Oh yeah.
The movie might have fallen apart. So that's a good choice. I like that. So for me, it's the ensemble cast. Even though there are two leads, it does become an ensemble cast because toward the end they're all part of the story. And I like the costuming. I like the setting. The effort that went into this is really lush. I really like a lot of it. The problem is the style of direction, was a little, flat, because of that TV feel that we're talking about. And that kind of made the beginning of it a little more clunky. But the beginning of it's important because you need the establishing these characters because we have so many characters and we have so much backstory. So it is important. It gets a little messy, Crystal, at the end. I agree with you. Although I don't have a lot of problem with the choices that the uncle made. To me, I just wrote it up as being greedy. But I get where you're going. I see what you're saying, but I guess I was in the mood to let it go. I like the design of the creature, so there's a lot to like in here. The whole isn't as good as the parts, though. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. No, 3.25, 3.5, somewhere in there, somewhere between there. And most of it's because of Tim Blake and Angela Bettis. I love those two characters. I want those two characters to get their film. Just how they work together.
Unfortunately, they can't.
Well, they could get a prequel. So I just like the relationship. I liked how they worked together. They were a team. Mm-hmm. They understood each other. They had a real interesting interaction with the rest of the cast. And there were they to me, and I also liked, like you said, we haven't talked about David Arquette, but I liked the way he delivered that character. He was kind of, is flighty the right word? It was kind of, he's a little bit.
He kind of always plays those high-strung type.
Yeah, high-strung is a good way to put it. But it felt. I mean, I felt like he was acting. I don't feel like he was playing himself. The whole camera thing with the aspect of his character was really fun. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. My favorite scene is, of course, going to be, you took it, Crystal. That is absolutely my favorite scene. I loved how that scene came together. But there's two other scenes with them I'm going to choose as my favorite scenes. One is, they break into a song, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I was like, I love it when Tim Blake Nelson sings, because he, what's the one he did with George Clooney where they did a lot of singing?
Was it Oh Brother, We're
Brother,
Out There?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Whatever that is, I love that film. Just that whole singing thing where they record that first song. Anyway, back to this film. So the chemistry between them, because they're playing the piano, they sing together at the end. I just love it. But the other one that I thought was really strong is when, after they bring Tara into the bar or into the saloon or whatever the hell it is, and they put her on the table, and then his character Torg gets real emotional about it and runs out into the rain,
holding those two cleavers.
Yeah,
I thought he was about to go beat someone. Really?
Yeah, but the rain stopped him because he couldn't tell where anything was because there was too much sound.
Oh, well,
did I make that
sense.
up? Okay.
No, that makes so much sense, actually. But I didn't know if he was just. I kind of felt like he was just going out because he was so upset. But
no, he was very upset. He was going to lay some shit on some
smack
people.
Down?
But, yeah, he was going to smack some people down. But I felt the emotion of that character. I thought that was a very strong scene. That whole scene was very strong where they bring him in. Everybody's, where he throws the bottle. He goes, I need alcohol. And he throws the bottle and he catches it, right? Bit terrible if he didn't catch it, but he did catch it. That was when I would say that scene from the beginning to the end of it is the opposite of what I was complaining about, because that was very kinetic. It was very the camera had some movement to it. The characters were moving around. You were in different parts of that, of the saloon at different times. So, and of course going outside. So, yeah.
Well, I think the camera reacts around their performances as opposed to them acting within the camera, and I think you find that a little bit later on too with the big confrontation at the end as well. The camera lingers on them after certain things happen. Although, if by the way, if you watch it through the credits, because they read that song, they play a longer version of the song in the credits.
I didn't see that. Oh damn!
It's towards I guess little ways into the credits, to the very end, they play a longer version of the song where Tim Blake Nelson at the end is like, he's got this, he does like some kind of little thing at the end, so it's a longer version of that. So if you want a little bit more orchestrated too, heavily orchestrated, but has more music to it.
Other than just the pianos. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into that. All right, guys, there you go. That's our review for Ghosts of the Ozarks. Heading your way February 3rd. Check it out. Let us know what you think of it down below. Let us know if we were too harsh, too lenient, what you thought of it.
I was probably too harsh on the kid.
Maybe the kid.
Now I feel bad for
Mommy. No.
The kid won't be hearing this anyway.
Hopefully not. If not, I
wonder when you're going to write something down.
He's just going to write a letter to that little kid. Christopher G. Mohr is such an asshole. I'm sorry he said that about you. You're a good actress.
You were so cute when I saw you smile in the doctor's office. I don't know. She was cute, though.
She was cute there, yeah. Yes.
Here's a kite with my face on it. Love, Crystal.
I would totally do that.
All right, guys.
Flying.
Oh, thank you for listening. Christopher, thank you for joining me. This is a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
No problem.
Yeah,
we buried ourselves completely. All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.